Good evening, everyone. The purpose of tonight's event is to enable Andres and Ismihan to present their artificial intelligence presentations. Tanisha presented hers. She recorded hers and submitted hers earlier, and Tanisha, you did an excellent job. So thank you. And once they're going to do their presentations one at a time, and probably like 10 to 15 minutes of content, and we'll be able to ask questions along the way. And once we finish one, then we'll go to the other. So thank you again, and we will begin with, so Ismihan, Andres, do you have a preference as to who begins first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Let me share my screen really quickly.
And Aaron, feel free to ask questions since this is all new.
Can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay. So hi everyone. As you guys know, my name is Ismihan, and I'll be giving my artificial intelligence presentation on the part that I did on the document ChatGPT. So we're just going to talk about like the capabilities of ChatGPT in various aspects of our lives, as well as just like talk about like how we can use it in the workplace and in regards of like 1stGenYale. So I can just start off by giving an overview of like what ChatGPT is. So ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI on the GPT 3.5 architecture, and it was launched in November 30th, 2022. So quite recently. It's an AI language model, and it was meant to generate text that was closely resembling human language. ChatGPT has a lot of a very diverse amount of applications, ranging from creating content to like using it in complex tasks that require text-based interactions. And there are two versions of ChatGPT. One is a free version, and another is a paid pro plan called ChatGPT Plus. ChatGPT Plus allows users to have access to a larger database, more accurate and relevant text, as well as faster response times and other aspects. The biggest benefit of ChatGPT Plus is its faster response time and how it can just like increase efficiency. ChatGPT Plus is as of now, the last time I checked, it's $20 a month for the subscription. So now I can just move on to some statistics about ChatGPT. I got these statistics are sourced from Demand Sage, and pretty much what it just shows is just like statistics that illuminate the remarkable trajectory of ChatGPT. Among the key highlights is pretty evident of ChatGPT's popularity and how it's skyrocketed. As of now, as of February 2023, ChatGPT has 100 million users, which means a user just defines as like a person with an email signed up like for a ChatGPT account. And the website has over 9 billion views of all time. Also, ChatGPT is expected to generate a revenue of around $200 million around the end of 2023. And pretty much this just shows the it just shows the amount, like how the popularity of ChatGPT really skyrocketed and how it was able to get such a large amount of large user base in such a small amount of time. The ChatGPT was able to get the 100 million individuals within like 2 months of its release, and within 2 months of its release, and that was something that took other software like YouTube around 1.5 years to achieve in comparison. Moreover, the way the software was able to get so much, a large amount of like revenue estimations, just because of how popular and versatile it is, and how this software really caused people to have to adapt in order to be able to use it in the ever-changing professional and like regular world. Now I can just move on to talk about a few potential impacts of ChatGPT on jobs. So as like AI advances, a lot of concerns have really like pulled up due to ChatGPT, as well in terms of how it will impact job displacements. So several articles from journals such as the New York Times and CNBC really emphasize like the potential shifts in the job market due to ChatGPT. And the main way to adapt to this is just by having adaptation to remain relevant. Individuals, whether students, professionals, organizations, just have to like cultivate skills that complement AI, like creativity and emotional intelligence, while also remaining open to like continuous upscaling. Moreover, individuals should also, as well as organizations, should also embrace the mentality of continuous learning. By embracing this continuous learning, individuals and organizations will be able to make it possible to like utilize the power of AI for their own benefit while like navigating the professional world and not falling behind as it continuously changes. Now we can talk about the workplace integration of ChatGPT. So like I said, ChatGPT's presence is really transforming the workplace by refining like how tasks are executed, as well as just like what tasks are like needing what tasks can be done with ChatGPT. And it's like really proven to be a very valuable asset in several aspects, ranging from drafting emails, making reports, doing data analysis, as well as like enhancing efficiency and minimizing errors. And ChatGPT's capabilities can really be harnessed by individuals as well as like the board of 1stGenYale in various manners, including the ones I listed earlier. And also can include aspects like real-time information synthesis to data analysis to generating reports. And AI can really like enhance decision-making processes and make 1stGenYale like more efficient and productive. Now I can just move on to some live demonstration application in the workplace. So the main three aspects I will talk about are how ChatGPT can be used in helping grant proposal writings and other applications, email writing, as well as analyzing data and making summaries. So I'll just get off of presenting mode for a minute. Okay, so I'll just share ChatGPT itself. Okay, can everyone see?
We can, yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'll just start off with how ChatGPT can be used with helping with grant proposals as well as applications. So pretty much what first can be done is just like by inputting information. So like I guess the best way to approach ChatGPT is either to just like start off with something general and then copying and pasting whatever the output is, and then just like putting it on a Google document or Word document, adding your own information, and then you can put it into ChatGPT and say like a prompt such as like make this sound better or make it shorter or make it more like professional, etc. So it's more of just like finding the balance between like using it to find somewhere to start off with, as well as just like being able to edit it to add your own information and your own flair. So for example, example text, I made a document of pre-prepared prompts and I put it on the Google Slides so I can share it with the board members afterwards. So for example, I can just say like describe describe our nonprofit's in mission and key programs we offer. And the nonprofit is called 1stGenYale. So now ChatGPT will go over and it will use what it finds on the internet. I have to do note like one downfall of ChatGPT is that it can only get information from 2021 and before. So if you do want to like get more like up-to-date information, it's more of just like taking whatever output it has and then just adding your own information and saying make it sound better. So like in seconds, ChatGPT was able to like really outline the key programs and like things that 1stGenYale does. And this can be used in like a grant proposal or application just to find a place to start off with, or making like a framework on like how can I start of explaining what 1stGenYale is to like a grant, like or like other applications that I want to do. And then from this, you can like say like maybe I want this to be more in like a paragraph format. And so now you can just like put in the input, like turn this into a paragraph format and make it more like make it for a grant proposal. So now I can say like, oh, introduction, I'll explain like what we're trying to do, what 1stGenYale is, as well as just like outlining the things it has done earlier, and just like it's like really doing this incredibly fast and in seconds. And then it has like a whole conclusion as to like what 1stGenYale is, what like we want from the grant proposal, etc. So it just really like streamlines things and makes things much faster. So like something that would take maybe like hours to write can be done in seconds. And then now you like if someone's using this for like a grant proposal or like application for 1stGenYale, they can just like copy paste this, edit it to make it more specific towards like the grant that's being applied to, or like something towards 1stGenYale, and it just really improves the workplace and make it more like efficient. I'm now going to move on to how ChatGPT can be used to like for like sending emails and just like making the process of like sending emails much faster and like efficient. So 1stGenYale can like use that time for like other aspects of the nonprofit. So I made a situation. So I'll put the prompt in. So like let's say, for example, 1stGenYale wanted to like email Karen Gosling's from academic strategies and maybe like talk about setting up a Zoom meeting with her to do a possible collaboration with like the core presenter to like have an alumni panel of FGLI alum talk to students and like, how like they should navigate Yale as FGLI students. So now I pretty much like this is a prompt I made. So I'm just pretty much explaining the situation, like being specific as to like what ChatGPT needs to do. I'm telling ChatGPT like you are 1stGenYale, act as 1stGenYale. I'm telling ChatGPT who to send the email to, what like who Karen Gosling is, as well as just like what I want the email to be about, and just like the availability. So now I'll just press enter, and then like in seconds ChatGPT is able to like write the email for me, and it has like the subject, it has like the aspects of the email, and it just pretty much explains like what I want it to do, and it does like in seconds. And it also just like makes a template for me as well by saying like you can put your name, your title, 1stGenYale, contact information, and then like pretty much from this like you can just like adapt it just to make it like sound better, make it maybe like sound more like you wrote it, and then you can also like add more information like your own Zoom link, etc. And maybe like when you see this output you may think like this is too long of an email. I want it to be more concise. So you can easily just say like, please shorten this. And then ChatGPT will like easily just shorten this into like there's a little bit of buffer, but now it's like shortening it into like a shorter email, like one paragraph, and it's just like to the point. So like maybe you're thinking like, I don't want to send Karen Gosling's like a very long like essay. I want to send something very concise. So it's just like very adaptable, and you can do a lot with it. So finally, now I'm going to show how ChatGPT can be used to like analyze data, specifically like Excel and Google Sheets data. So I asked Elise for permission, and I'm going to use some data from the 23 Yale first gen Yale conference data, and I'm just going to ask ChatGPT. I copy it. I pre-did it, but like pretty much you can just copy and paste sheets. Like you can copy and paste like cells from Excel or Google Sheets, and you just have to like explain it. So you can, let me make sure. So okay, so I made it say like, okay, this is like the response. These are responses to the question. This is the question that was like in the survey, like what inspired you the most about the alumni conference. Then I asked ChatGPT like analyze these responses, make a summary of what the general consensus was. And then I just copied and pasted like the quotes onto here. I didn't even have to like format it. It was literally just copying and pasting it from like the Excel sheet. So now I just like press enter, and like immediately ChatGPT is able to just like analyze what like I put into it, and just like put down like key points of like what each person said, like about like pretty much like what overall like the people in the survey like said about like what they thought of like the alumni conference. And you can just see like the main points like connection and relevance, supporting the first gen movement, the community, belonging at Yale, keynote speakers, etc. So you can just like really save a lot of time by like analyzing data through ChatGPT as well as other AI software, just to like be able to get like summaries that are incredibly fast in like seconds, which may like actually take hours in other aspects, and be able to just say like, okay, this is what most people think based on this. So you don't have to like waste a lot of time just like going through each and every like what each and every person says, and just like you can use that time for like other aspects. So now those are like the main things I wanted to show. Like there's a lot more that ChatGPT can be used for, and I have like included like at the end of the presentation in the like reading links, just like a few videos that explain like ways to use ChatGPT, like Google Docs and Google Sheets, as well as just like videos that explain generally how to use ChatGPT. So now I'll go over and I will do a new share back to the presentation. Let me see. Okay. Can everyone see the presentation?
We can.
Okay.
I can't see Lisa at all. So Lisa, if you're trying to say something.
I already said it to her.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I was going to say this is transformational. And when you asked me this today, if I could send you the statistics for the conference, unbelievable. Can you send me all the detailed summaries of what you did? Because I want to figure out a way how to get that out to the community. This is mind blowing. This is unbelievably mind blowing.
I'll make sure to, of course, I'll make sure to send the summaries as well as just like all the prompts that I used in the presentation.
Please remember I said to look at Tanisha's email.
I was looking at Tanisha's video as well. This is transformational. I mean, there's no other word than transformational.
Now, Tanisha and Ismihan, I want you to know so far, and Andres will do the same, you have completely transformed Lisa's thoughts regarding this.
Well, no, let me just say, no. Let me just start back. At our June board meeting, I actually did chat GPT, and I put in a board meeting agenda. And I had a similar kind of PowerPoint with 7 or 8 points about board meeting agenda. I got to tell you, it was spot on. I mean, it didn't have the examples, but it definitely had the categories. It had the topics. It was right there. And I was like, whoa, this is a really powerful tool that we need to embrace. So I actually was there in June, but I am beyond excited by what you're doing, beyond. And Tanisha, I watched your video earlier today, beyond about Bard and all that. So no, that you guys have done an unbelievable, way beyond inspiring job on this. Just I don't know what else to say. I'm in awe. So Michael, back to you.
Oh, there's more. She's still going.
Sorry.
No,
thank you so much.
Ismihan still has more.
So thank you so much. So now just like for like the prominent Yale alumni in AI, I just like wrote about like the person I put on the document. So it's like Brian's Sasolati. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. However, he's like a professor at Yale in computer science, cognitive science, and mechanical engineering. His main research focus is just like embodying computational models of like human social behavior, humanoid robots and human robot interaction, as well as AI. But I guess like the most important thing and like why I included him in this presentation and the document is just because he like participated in a panel with the Poorvu Center, and pretty much this panel was about like AI's impact in teaching and learning discussions. And like in the panel, he and other panelists like really discussed like what an AI chatbot like is, and like how professors and teaching fellows should like approach AI chatbots like ChatGPT and adapt their teachings to be like be more aware of like the presence of these softwares. And like he, along with the other panelists, really recommended doing things such as being more direct about like what tools students should be able to use, changing assignment designs to like lower the likelihood of like students like using AI chatbots in a way to like cheat, as well as just like addressing AI software and syllabi, and just like honestly like accepting it, for like some like explaining how some professors should accept it, and like just really be strict on like giving a process of like what a student should do if they want to use the AI chatbot, or like how they should write on their syllabi like what like how like to be specific as like to explain how an AI chatbot should not be used. So like he's pretty like involved like with the Poorvu Center, as well as just like other aspects of just like AI and like AI chatbots. So now I'll just move on to a quick summary. So in summary, like ChatGPT is really just like revolutionizing communication, boosting productivity across industries, and can really be utilized to help make 1stGenYale a lot more efficient and productive in the workplace, especially if like ChatGPT is used hand in hand with other software and like AI chatbots like Bard and Dolly. And like by learning more about like AI software like ChatGPT, like 1stGenYale can really like improve and do a lot more and be more efficient in the workplace. So here are just a few references of like the like articles that I talked about, as well as just like Professor Brian Seslanti's website. And then finally, here's a few like reading recommendations and video recommendations for the board to like look at whenever they have time, just to learn more about like what ChatGPT is and how to use it for like various cases, ranging from like Google Docs and Sheets, writing grant proposals, Excel, as well as general use. And like, I guess, surprise before concluding, it's worth noting that like a large portion of this presentation was made by ChatGPT, showcasing like its potential to save time and like, really impact the workplace efficiency. Obviously, like, I did my own research and I didn't like just immediately just like ChatGPT make this presentation, but it's just like I really wanted to mention, just to like emphasize how like ChatGPT can really be used in a lot of aspects. And it was like quite easy to like make a real like structure with ChatGPT to make a presentation. All you have to do is just say like ChatGPT, make a presentation, and just like write down like all the specifics you want, as well as like inputting your own information, and I'll just like give it slide by slide with titles, as well as like points as to, like how to make a good presentation. So I was just like I just like really want to emphasize like how useful ChatGPT is and how it can be like used in a lot of aspects. And just like feel free to like reach out like about more information about how AI can like I guess like AI like ChatGPT, as well as just like I'll make sure to include all of like the prompts, like I said, as well as like everything else I use, including the presentation prompts. I can include that too, like in a document, and share with the board.
That would be excellent. And now we're open to questions. And I have an initial one. Yeah. As you were reading, did you have any sense as to how many jobs would be affected through the research you had done?
I think it depends, just because it can really vary. I'm not sure in terms of like specific number, but like some specific jobs, especially jobs with like where people have to like write things, for example, like writing a proposal for like pharmacy companies, or like other aspects can be like really impacted by ChatGPT. However, by like individuals like learning how to like improve their skills through like utilizing ChatGPT for their own like I guess benefit, they don't like have to worry as much about their jobs being taken. Rather, they just have to like adapt, I guess, and be able to adopt ChatGPT and other AI like chatbots in order to like utilize it to like improve their work and like be more efficient.
Okay. And my other question very quickly is, in terms of the amount of dollars invested, how recent were those numbers? Because I know I read about billions of dollars being invested here and there in different areas of artificial intelligence.
These are more just like by like, I think the general was just like by February 2023.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's been like
that's right.
It's not
that's
the most recent.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely changed since then. It's going up.
Yeah, it's changed a lot more.
Yep. With that, we open it to the floor for questions, including Aaron and Tanisha, if you have questions. Anyone?
Barb has a question first. Barb?
I saw when you did your analysis of the spreadsheet information, you had copied the text out of it. Is it able to, I know we can look it up later on with that reference you made for sheets and documents, but can they input a spreadsheet and have it do the same thing, or do you have to remove the text from the spreadsheet?
In terms of a spreadsheet, I think you can just like input, like just copy and paste like the cells with like the information you want. And like in terms of like Excel. And I know like a lot of people have made like extensions where you can just like put an extension and use it with like use ChatGPT with like Google Sheets as well. Yeah.
Ismihan, this is brilliant. This is really excitingly brilliant. Question is though, I know there have been issues with source material, not your source material, but in the world of GPT in terms of being miscited, misquoted,
hallucinations, etc.
yes, yeah. So how does one work with this brilliant product, which makes it more efficient, outlining summaries, emails? I love what it does, but obviously it needs a fine, sharp pen from the editor to go through and double check, cite sources, correct things. So you can't rely on it as 100% document. So can you talk a little bit more about how the information is generated, how is the source material sourced and put together, and how to look out for pitfalls where something may be not exactly accurately presented?
Yeah, of course. So pretty much ChatGPT's like uses like a neural network, and it does like use a lot of like various source materials in order to get its information, and it has like caused a lot of like issues with people like saying it has done things like copyright, etc. So I think like the best way to approach it while like using the software is just like you said, like just using a fine-tooth comb as like an editor when going through like the information produced by ChatGPT, just to like ensure that like whatever it's saying is just like true and does not have anything like that's like untrue or like copyrighted or like. And so just like making sure just to like double check sources, like if you use it to get references, just like double check the references, making sure they're like websites that are like real and don't have like any issues, as well as like information. If it says something incorrect, then you can just like double check it, and then you can like utilize the prompts by just saying something like, oh, like what you said in like XYZ is incorrect. Could you fix it and change it by saying like this correct information? And then ChatGPT will be able to like fix it. And as well as just like using that and combined with like personal editing as well. Like once you like getting a prompt from ChatGPT, just maybe like putting it on like a Google Doc or Word document and just like editing it, and then just like ensuring, like I said, like just fact checking everything and just making sure everything's like correct and doesn't have like issues.
Okay, and so for new people who are watching this recording for us, we're going to share this. This is brilliant. How do basically go back to the basics? So how does ChatGPT gather the information electronic?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Like so ChatGPT pretty much just uses like a neural network per se, and it just like is like by using the neural network like model, it's able to just like generate like data as well as just like get data like from online and the internet in order to like make responses. So that's like the like I guess like
So whatever's out there, so whoever's out there in the world of the internet, whatever's out there in communication and sources, it gathers it lightning speed fast and puts it together in whatever format you ask, whether it's outline or email or
yeah, and it's generally like pre-2021, so 2021 and before. It doesn't have like anything afterwards, so it does like have like old information, which can cause a lot of errors and like may not have like the most up-to-date information. And obviously like double check everything I'm saying just in case, because I don't want to like give any wrong information.
Right. Thank you, Michael. Back to you.
Thank you, Ismihan. Andres, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
And just as a preview for all of you, this is a very different type of AI platform. This is more graphically oriented. So go ahead and do your overview regarding what DALL-E is and go from there.
Yeah, perfect. So my presentation is regarding DALL-E, and it looks at a generative AI system created to use images. And I'll give you guys a little bit of an overview on how this works and what it's built on. So DALL-E 2 uses a deep neural network trained on a vast of data sets of images and text to generate new images based on a prompt that it's given. And it analyzes and extracts keywords and concepts like attached to certain words, and then creates a novel image reflecting that image, reflecting the text. So unlike other generative AI, well, here's just some more information. So DALL-E 2 stands for Diverse Algorithm for Localized Latent Encoding. And essentially, it's an application that allows you to transform creativity, efficiency, and decision-making regarding visual imagery, and how exactly that works within the larger business setting. So unlike other generative AI, DALL-E aims to generate coherent visual concepts and compositions, and it tries to understand visual relationships in context to whatever prompt that you're giving to create a realistic and logical, consistent image from scratch. So it builds on the same models of OpenAI and GPT like ChatGPT, except it's obviously then reworked into working into like the visual domain. And it's really gained popularity across different industries like designers, writers, and more, because it really is able to help visually conceptualize a specific text that is given. And because of this being particularly owing to visual domain, it has a different impact than ChatGPT does. You know, ChatGPT tends to have a different type of processing unit that allows it to, you know, like look at words. So looking at DALL-E, it's a very different platform. It's still very impactful, but it just has different capabilities. So then, just like ChatGPT, it should be seen as an augmented force and not as a replacement, because just like ChatGPT, there are many downsides to DALL-E, and it's very easily able to tell when an image is AI recognized. And I mean, we've seen a lot of this in like different trends where people use the same technology to create headshots, as well as like images of like how they would look like in a specific way. And you can see this kind of like uncanny valley aspect to a lot of these images, and that you can tell that there's just something not right there. And so because of that, there's a downside to that, where it's very easily able to tell that something is AI generated. And obviously that leads to a lot of different controversies and discussions that should be talked about. And it should just be used, it can be impactful in the way of like education as well. And as many directly, you can see this is like designers, and I'm going to show you a live demonstration of how exactly that would look like for 1stGenYale or anyone interested in using DALL-E to create any visual aspect or image. So how does this look like in the workplace? We've seen this just like ChatGPT and many different things of marketing, where you're able to create a diverse visual concept for campaigns, and you know, you give it a prompt of I'm looking to market XYZ thing. Give me a celebrity using my product in a cafe or something of such, and DALL-E will take those words and create a novel image based on that. So exactly, and also help writing in the way that having a visual image to come up with can be a very helpful way of, let's say, like world building, as well as anything that's in the creative industries of like that requires a kind of building up in a description of a specific object, place, character. This could obviously be very helpful in workshopping and, you know, really making something concrete out of words that were just given, and, you know, really help design that project. And then lastly, design explores new creative avenues and generating unique visuals. Because this attempts to make novel images, you really do see the opportunity for different types of results based on a single like data set. So if you give it, let's say, give me a tiger that's drawing, it's going to drive you 5 different sets of a tiger. And so, you know, this really makes it so there's a really unique visual aspect to DALL-E. And so now I'm going to head into the visual demonstration and what that exactly looks like. So here I have, okay, let's put this input of create a modern logo representing innovation and company values. Something that's very vague. And just like ChatGPT, the more that you give it, the more that a concise image is able to give you. So we'll press it in here and let's see what comes up with it. So this will give you 5 different sets of images to like kind of give you a variety of results. And then we'll see exactly what that, so this is what has come up with it. So it's like, it comes up with something like this, where, you know, it's a fluid object, as well as like the lines and the colors make it very friendly. So it really shows that like innovative aspect to it. It doesn't seem very archaic. It doesn't seem very traditional. It utilizes a lot of movement, as well as a lot of bright colors to really represent that innovation. So does anyone have something they would like to see in particular? If not, I can make something kind of off the top of my head.
Just make it up. Yeah.
I'd like to see a logo for 1stGenYale podcasts.
Oh, that's a good idea, Barb.
So just like that, I think it'll only work based on a given data set of 2021, just like ChatGPT. So we'll see exactly what they think 1stGenYale is. Let's see, for 1stGenYale, here, I'll put it like this. So
Why does it say ninth wave sports car?
Oh, that's just like a prompt, let's say an example of someone that was given. Okay. Well, you see, like we would have to be a lot more specific in that way because
Yeah.
the internet probably doesn't have enough information on what is 1stGenYale. So you would have to be like, I would need a logo that has the words 1stGenYale, which is XYZ thing, and I'm looking for a specific image. So something like
All right,
that
how
would
about this?
I
All
have
right,
a quick
Andres.
question though.
Yeah.
You might want to take podcast out because there's no search term out there. If it searches for 1stGenYale podcast, there's nothing out there. Whereas for 1stGenYale, there is stuff. But that's just
let's see what it says for 1stGenYale. But look, these are examples, an expressive oil painting of a basketball, like 1stGenYale, like it would give me something like this.
Ooh.
But it also has some difficulties processing tags is what I've noticed as well. Like having text within an image, it tends to do better of just creating
How about Andres, put in 1stGenYale videos. What would videos show up like?
Let's see.
Because that's more of
Like
that's cute.
No, I don't think that's 1stGenYale. But okay, it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Let's see what it can come up with. 1stGen. So it kind of gives you like a concept of how a logo would look like utilizing certain stuff. So it'd be like this is the very way of like how it can be. There's limitations to this because clearly it doesn't give you 1stGenYale, but however, it does give you like a logo structure where I could imagine using this particular image and it says 1stGen,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
playing,
so it
yeah,
can be
playing-
yeah, and then let's see, let's surprise us, and then let's see like a surrealist dreamlike oil by Salvador Dali of a cat playing checkers. So by giving it more information, it'll give you a much more specific image, and it tends to do better without things that require words, just because like, so for example, this is what it could be used to give us.
Oh, cats playing checkers. I like that.
Yeah, in the style of Dali. So
Yeah.
you can be like a tiger playing the piano in the middle of the ocean in
like Life of Pi. It's like
impressionist way. And let's see what it can give us, or like a Van Gogh style painting of an American football player. Like, so you can really give it a lot of different prompts and it will start giving it to you. So
and let me ask you, how are these, when you put in the prompt, how are these images generated?
yeah, where are they
coming from?
Just like ChatGPT is using a neural network. So it's been given a data set of parts from particular time of the internet. And then it collects, and it's also given a bunch of images. So then it'll start associating what a tiger looks like with an image. And then from that, it compiles on and it starts building on, because it's generative. It just begins to compile on to this large neural network and tries to abstract as much information to a concept. So that's what it gives it for us.
And Andres, if you want it, you could pick one of those images and have it do variations of that image.
Yeah, so
based upon more specific instructions.
Yeah, so like I put a variation of maybe I like that one specifically, and technically the more that you give it, the more prompts, like the more that it'll give us. So like this was our original, and then I wanted something akin to that. This is what it gave me. And just for the sake of the presentation, I have another live demonstration. So it's kind of like this: generate a surreal and vibrant landscape, and we can give it like generate a survivor of the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so it just creates these renderings of images. But once again, they are renderings, so they tend to have their own downfall where you see like, so this is the Hudson Valley. And then maybe we can make it a surreal painting and see what comes up of there. So this is all to say, that this platform and AI capabilities allow us to draw on like visual material and try and create a new image, and that can be used for a variety of different ways. So like we can see that it gave us this painting of the Hudson Valley. And then I'll just get back to this. So that's kind of how DALL-E works. It's similar to ChatGPT in that it uses the same modes of information. However, the result of it is very different. It has very different purposes of using more of like this visual aspect to it, which can be used for 1stGenYale in specific ways. In some ways, it might not serve us at all.
Quick question. One of the first things you worked on during the summer was creating graphics for the FSY program. If you were able to provide it with a sample of a graphic, could it come up with different concepts around the graphic, for example? Or is that just too
I
complex a
think for
design?
1stGenYale specifically, it would be very difficult just because we needed to portray a specific amount of information. I think it'd be
Okay.
very good for like having like some type of source inspiration material where we're able to be like, I need like a specific composition, or like I'm looking for a very specific way of organizing images visually. And I think that could be very helpful. But in terms of creating something like an invitation, I don't think it could be very particularly productive in using that.
Okay.
It seems like it would already have that it's actually pulling from examples that already are in existence.
Yeah.
You could do like Bulldogs attending a conference, something like that. So it would know to, pulling graphics of Bulldogs, what a conference might look like.
Yeah.
But just to say unless 1stGenYale had been around for 100 years and there'd been a style of art that was 1stGenYale, it wouldn't have, I can see now that it wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, so I think on that note of like you would have to be able to know how to use something generally to apply to something specific. So it could be like an animated bulldog. I mean, we can even try it out. We can be like an animated bulldog using a mic. Let's see what comes up. And now we can be like, okay, we can use that for an invitation as a graphic of, like a conference, and
Wow.
Yeah.
so look, for
there
example,
you go.
we could use something like that. And
So
then,
Now that is cute.
It works now. Yeah.
What's amazing from me watching this, I'm just overwhelmed and in awe of what you guys have created.
nice.
But Ismihan and Tanisha and Andres now with the graphics and the logos and stuff. It's great. It's a great way to start. It's a great way to give you some ideas and some rough outlines and rough sketches, and then you have to kind of make it your own. So it's a great beginning tool. I'm not sure it's the ending tool, but I think that's the point. It has to be customized for the unique situation or organization opportunity. But what a great tool. Especially the graphics on, with the others that you guys have done in terms of the outlining and emailing and content. It's really an interesting tool.
Yeah. So it's a very different tool. And so, I mean, much of the research there's not much because, I mean, there's general research done on its neural network, but there's more research done on ChatGPT just because it has more of like a direct impact on it. So finding stuff about like professors was kind of a little bit difficult. It tends to be just the same professors at Yale, in particular of these, the ones that Ismihan had talked about. And so I just wanted to include some like of research that I had found that like talked about how AI generated art is impacting creative industries. And just like there's DALL-E, there's also multiple iterations of this, like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion being other ones, each one having different types of data sets. So the type of image that it would conjure would be very different. So for example, but as we have seen with these demonstrations, it can be very difficult for AI to completely overturn the creative industries in terms of image making, just because you have a very specific image and a very specific goal, and you might not be able to convey that in terms of like written text. Rather, you just need to do like that visual experimentation. So for instance, a game designer uses AI to create custom art for his game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the final demonstration or iteration for that game. So it can be very good for concept art and really exploring like conceptually what you would want to make, but not necessarily for the final product, as there are many limitations to how exactly, an image is able to be made that is effective to your overall goal.
Andres, talk to us about copyrights, using the information, how do people use it without violating whoever created this? How does all that work in
Yeah,
terms
of course. So I mean, right now
Is
it's
it just
still
open? Is it an open
very much up
platform?
in the air. There's not much regulation that has been put on this, and just like much of other AI, we have seen instances where people have been using it and then they have been caught using it, and then that kind of spurs a discussion on whether it's allowed or not allowed, because unlike ChatGPT, this doesn't like use like information in the same way of like, let's say like a law case that we've seen in the news where a lawyer had used ChatGPT and then it came up with a whole new, like, it's not like that. However, there's something that can be kind of similar where an AI image was made and submitted into an art contest and it won first place. And it wasn't until afterwards that they said, oh, this was made by an AI platform. And then that kind of spurred like talking about, oh, does this constitute as art? Should we allow this? How do we check for AI images? So, it's so like there's not much really
too
like
early. It's
solid
too early.
regulations on it.
And
It still hasn't even be seen
Okay.
the exact potential of it.
Like
and
who?
Lisa, I'll tell you very quickly, Congress is in a panic. They're having all these committees meeting right now to determine what's the regulation, because now the power of it is that they can actually produce images in
Yeah.
some versions of people saying things that they didn't say and all kinds of other things. So they're very, very worried about political campaigns and a bunch of other things that they're concerned about.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, exactly. Now with the ideas of like deep fakes, and we even seen things like now of like people making headshots and just images of like, how would I look like if I was 10 years older, like as a baby or such and such. Like this has been creating a lot new like space for a discussion about this. And there's not really much exact like regulation on it. However, it's still like something that's going up in hand now. And then lastly, I have like one more kind of like little article talking about this, and it kind of talks away of how like creative professionals can use this to like boost productivity and refine concepts and offer this creative assistance. And essentially it boils down to being an aid rather than a full non-stop machine that is able to conjure images, because there's still ideas like arguments over image ownership and who gets to keep this image. Is it the maker of DALL-E? Does he have copyright over this, or is this the person who created the actual prompt? Or yeah, so there's still a lot of talk about this, and because it doesn't have much as a direct impact as like something like ChatGPT does, we're still kind of lagging behind of what exactly this holds for us.
It's a big factor in the strike that's coming up the strike that's going on between the writers and the actors and Hollywood, because one of the elements of the strike is to what degree artificial intelligence can be used in terms of images, in terms of writing, whose work can be referenced, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's kind of my presentation, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron, Tanisha, any questions of any kind? I know you guys are more familiar with this than all of us are, probably, but any questions from any of you before we go forward with the celebration?
I had a question, Andres. Is DALL-E free, or is there a charge for an account, or how does that work?
So it has credits. So it's on a credit-based system. So I don't know if you saw, it said like I had like 6 out of 15 free credits. So if you do want to use it, you do have to pay, because you will run out of credits at one point. So I think with like $15, it gives you like, I think 100 credits. And then each prompt that you put in each image, it's a credit. So it's not free. Not
Well,
like
thanks for using it for us.
No, of course.
Hello everyone, my name is Tanisha Narine, and I'm a 1stGenYale Summer Bulldogs intern. In this video, I will talk about my contributions to this generative AI resource guide and give a demonstration of how Bard, a generative AI platform, works. In this guide, I wrote a paragraph explaining what Bard is and how it works. Bard is a generative AI platform that was launched by Google on May 10th of this year. Even though the platform is very similar to ChatGPT, there are many strengths that Bard has over this platform. Bard is better at answering specific questions, providing accurate information, and it is integrated with G Suite. This allows you to export responses to Google Docs or Gmail. It is also worthwhile to mention that BARD is able to provide more accurate information because it was trained using Google search results. Another contribution that I made to this guide was finding 2 online articles that talked about the impact of generative AI on the job market. This article for the New York Times discusses how AI can automate many jobs, and whether AI will replace jobs or help workers become more efficient. This next article talks about the jobs that will likely be automated by AI, but it also explains that AI may have more of a positive as opposed to a negative effect on the job market. Jobs with very repetitive tasks may become automated, such as retail and research. However, other professions, such as teachers and lawyers, are unlikely to be jobs that AI could completely replace. I also researched Yale professors who are involved in doing research around the topic of artificial intelligence. Dr. Nishith Vishnoi is the A. Bartlett Giamatti Professor of Computer Science at Yale University. He also co-founded the Computation and Society Initiative at Yale. Professor Vishnoi conducts research in several areas, which include exploring how privacy and bias and other ethical problems are present within artificial intelligence. My last contribution to this guide includes 2 examples of how 1stGenYale could use AI in their workflow. One situation where artificial intelligence may prove useful is in preparing a presentation for projects that are in progress. First, you can prompt the AI platform to create a script that you can use to help you organize your talking points during the presentation. An example of a prompt that you can use is create a draft of a presentation for work completed so far on a resource guide for first-generation college students. In BARD, this generated a script that included an introduction sentence, an explanation of the sections within the resource guide, talking points about the progress made so far, notes about future next steps, and a conclusion statement that thanked the audience for their time. Next, you can use AI to create a slideshow presentation that you can use to help the audience visualize the main ideas of your presentation. Canva, a free graphic design software that many use to create presentations, has a feature called Magic Design that helps you create AI presentations. This is an example of 1 to 8 presentations that Canva created with the prompt, "See in progress on completing a resource guide for first-generation college students." Users are allowed to pick a presentation style that most fits their intended audience, and they have the ability to edit or add images, text, and other content to the AI-generated slideshow, which is helpful as the AI generator may include images with watermarks. 1stGenYale could also use AI to create an annual report. You can ask the AI platform to simply write the annual report for you, and you can add specific topics to get a more accurate response. An example of a prompt you can use is, write an annual report for 1stGenYale that talks about the importance of alumni volunteers to our organization and the events that we hosted this year, such as a family picnic. Here's a document that details the response the ChatGPT gave for this prompt, which includes descriptions of events such as the family picnic, as well as introduction and conclusion paragraphs. The response from ChatGPT can be copied and pasted into a Google document or a Word document, and then the specific details that are included in the response can be edited for accuracy. Now, I will demonstrate how to use BARD. As previously mentioned, there are many ways in which you can use BARD. First, BARD can answer questions that you would normally ask in a Google search. For example, you can ask BARD, "What is 1stGenYale?" Now, let's look at my result. As a reminder, every time you're finished with looking at the current result, check all of the other drafts that are generated, and then press the Google It button. This helps you to gather more information to help you answer your question, as well as fact check the BARD response, as some information may be incorrect. Now, let's look at their first response that Bard generated for this question. It seems that this response was able to pick up on many important elements of what 1stGenYale is as an organization. For example, we can see that Bard described 1stGenYale as a non-profit organization that supports first-generation college students and alumni from Yale, which is correct. You also see that Bard listed many different opportunities and programs that 1stGenYale offers, such as networking opportunities and professional development, as well as community building. Then we can see that Bard also provided additional information about 1stGenYale. Now let's see how Bard can help us to plan a speakers event. Our first step for planning a speakers event can include finding panelists for our event. Let's ask Bard, which Yale alumni could I invite to a Q&A session about going to law school as a first-generation college student? Now, let's look at the responses that Bard has provided for us. First, let's look at this first draft that Bard generated. Then, you'll take a look at the other two drafts that Bard also generated. Some of the suggestions that Bard gives for us include Preet Bahara, Ellen Powell, Zina Bash, as well as Deborah Archer and Tarika Barrett. Again, it is very important to make sure that you use the button here below that says Google it in order to fact check the information that Bard has provided for you, as some facts may be incorrect. Now let's take a look at the other drafts that Bard also generated for this. We can see that some different names also appear here in the different drafts category. And we can see that some information has also stayed the same. And these are all the three drafts that Bard has generated to answer our question. And we can see that Bard has been able to provide us with a lot of great suggestions of who we can invite as keynote speakers and who we can invite as panelists to our event. Now let's see how Bard can help us to find a venue for our event. Let's ask Bard, where can I host a Q&A session at Yale University? Now let's see what suggestions Bard has recommended to us. Some buildings that they suggest include the Sterling Law Building, a law school classroom, the Whitney Humanities Center, in which this picture is also showing Humanities Quadrangle, as well as the Yale Club of New York City. Let's see what other places Bard has suggested for us in the other drafts for this response. Some other suggestions also include a Yale Law School moot courtroom, some auditoriums, a Yale University common room, and one of the Yale University libraries. This third suggestion, or this third draft, also proposes that a law school dining hall may serve as a good venue. As we can see, many of these places are places where events at Yale University are typically held. And we can also see that some of these suggestions are also very informal spaces as well in order to foster a more casual conversation. Again, it's very important to use the Google It button at the bottom of each draft or the bottom of the first response that is shown to you by Bard in order to fact check information that Bard shows you And it will also help you to get more suggestions and more answers to your question. Because, for example, the Yale Club in New York City is not located at Yale University's campus, but it is located in New York City, which is not the venue where we want to hold the event. So using the Google It button can help us to gain more accurate information and more accurate suggestions as well. One nice feature that BARD has is that you can ask follow-up questions. I want to know if any of these spaces can host more than 100 students. So let's ask BARD this follow-up question. Can any of these spaces host 100 students? And BARD is able to answer this question very nicely by giving us a list of the venues that it gave us above, while also listing the exact seating capacity for all the venues. And we can see here that there are several drafts for this response, in which the numbers do change a bit, but it's very useful again to use BARD to ask these type of questions, as you're able to get an estimate of how many people each one of the venues that BARD listed can hold. And then again, you can get a more accurate seating capacity number, as well as learning about more venues that can hold 100 students at more by performing a Google search by using the Google It button. Lastly, I need to create some questions that I can ask my panelists. Let's see what questions BARD could generate for us. What are some questions that I can ask a Yale alumni about their experience going to law school as a first-generation college student? And it seems as if BARD has been able to generate a lot of different questions that we can use and that we can ask our panelists at our speakers event. And many of these questions seem to be really good questions that we can ask our panelists. For example, how did your law school experience help you to prepare for a career in a legal profession? What are some of the ways that you've used your law degree to give back to the first-generation college student community? And also, what advice could you give to other first-generation college students who are considering law school? It also seems as if BARD has been able to provide us with more general questions that we can use in order to learn more about the panelists' experiences in law school, as well as learn more about what they wish they had prepared or what they wish they had known before starting law school. You can also look at the other drafts that BARD has generated to see what other questions BARD has been able to come up with. And as always, you can use the Google It button in order to get more suggestions about questions that you can ask. But it seems as if BARD has been able to come up with a lot more questions that we may even need for the speakers event, which is helpful as we will be able to select what questions we think work best for our event. And this is my demonstration of BARD, and I hope that you're able to learn more about how capable BARD is as a tool and how you can incorporate it into your workflow. This is also the end of my video presentation, and I hope that you're able to learn more about the power of generative AI platforms, and also learn more about how generative AI is being researched at Yale University and in academia in general, and again, learn more about how generative AI could be incorporated into your workflow in order to help you achieve tasks more efficiently, but also help you to get more new ideas to help you do the work that you do best. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.